Hello, everyone. Welcome to this live session. So, guys, I want us to quickly take a look at this video where these guys have come out to slam TINUBU after rejecting, the national broadcast. We all know that he came out to talk about the national broadcast, and it was as if he was campaigning for himself again, telling Nigerians that he removed oil subsidy, that's fuel subsidy. He worked on exchange rates, instead of having different exchange rates on the forex market, he tried to unify it to one and all that. So he was just talking about himself as if he was promoting himself again for another tenure. That wasn't what Nigerians expected from him. People were thinking he was coming to address, the demands of the protesters. Guess what? The government, the president didn't capture even one of those demands. And that has sparked a lot of anger among the Gen Zs in Nigeria. They are not happy. They are not satisfied. In short, they've openly rejected that broadcast, that TINUBU gave out today, early hours of the morning of yesterday. Okay, we are in a new day. And they are saying that this protest is even going to become massive this time, for them to have even gone this far to just ignore them, ignore the demands. Also, they are calling for Wike to be sacked because of the improper management of the protest in the FCT. We also saw what happened in some parts of northern Nigeria where lives were being cut short, by some security agents. These are some of the things that are going to be fueling this protest in the upcoming days. So I'm going to let you watch and listen to what these are the protest organizers. Some of them, they are no longer hiding their faces. They are out. They are telling the government that they are not even ready to to negotiate with TINUBU. They have called TINUBU a corrupt leader, that he does not even want, being brought to the negotiation table and all that. In short, let you watch a section of this video. I will come back to talk further on that.
To make us look like we are misguided, we are uninformed, we are sponsored, and that's why we are protesting. Shows again that our president is out of touch. He should be listening. We should be the ones lecturing him on democracy and good governance and policies to address the issues fueling the protests. Given TINUBU's gargantuan history of corruption and self-enrichment through public wealth, he is the one who needs a lecture and probably a mental rehabilitation. He is so corrupt that he has reduced the trust of Nigerians in the government just by emerging as president. We cannot look out there. Across countries in Africa, people are taking polls of how much people have trust in their government. And Nigeria today is lowest on those polls. Because just by emerging alone, through a very corrupt electoral process, TINUBU has reduced the confidence of the people, the trust of the people in their governance. And a country where people don't trust in the governance of the day is a country that will especially be unstable. Because if the government is not responsible to the people do not owe anything to the government, and they do not owe the government to respect any law and order. And that is writing letter to chaos.
So he's saying that a country where the people do no longer trust the government is a country heading to chaos. So we know that this TINUBU's administration has that trust issue. Considering the background and where he's coming from, we all know what happened during the election, how certificates were forged and all that, being into those bad markets that led to those cases that we saw then during the election. And because of that, that's one of the reasons why investors are not even coming into Nigeria, because of trust issues. That's our biggest challenge at the moment in this country. Honestly, I just pray that this country gets back on track by the president of Nigeria. Let me just allow you to take a look at what they said themselves, one after the other. Take a look.
And we will claim our country. To our fellow Nigerians, we say, join us, stand with us. Together we can make a difference. Together we can create a better future. We better die on the street by our country's bullet than live a life of slavery and oppression. Thank you very much.
Yes, I think we need to make the point clear. My committee had made our demands clear, but in addition to those demands, because I will not let the death, I mean those who have died, to just be another death, because we witnessed what happened to Twin. All of the persons who were killed then, till today, we've not been able to get justice for them. So that we need to hold the persons who are accountable for the attack on our fundamental human rights, as well as the killing of innocent protesters across the nation on the very first day of this protest. So that we are demanding that the IGP, and including the CP of police in Abuja, must be held accountable for the gross human rights abuses that happened on the very first day of this protest in Abuja and elsewhere too. And also, we also need to make it clear that the Minister of FCT, the Garulus Wike, he has undermined the right of citizens in Abuja to peacefully protest and even gather, which is why we are faced with this court injunction. So that we are also calling that the man that Wike himself is unfit to continue to govern within the democratic sphere of the FCT. And again, tomorrow we'll be out in mass. Our people will be out to further the protest, because the protest continues. As you all recall, it is a 10 days protest, and even aside that, 10 days and beyond. Because for more indication, the government does not appear or is not displaying any form of readiness to meet our demands. We all read what the president read out today. No single demand from this protest was addressed by the president. So that our protest continues. And tomorrow is going to be a mass protest on Monday, and will be gathered at the National Stadium.
And the President of Nigeria has said in the speech that we should stop protesting and embrace dialogue, as if protest itself is not a form of dialogue. And one thing we must be clear about is that the assault on Nigerians, it has become very, very usual, very common that we disregard it. We don't see it as a big deal. For the past 4 days now, except today, I have had to face tear gas, despite being an asthmatic. And it was just this morning that I could afford the money to buy an inhaler. And that's because in Nigeria today, to buy an inhaler will cost you 8,250. That's the cheapest inhaler in the market. And that's why we are protesting. We are protesting because the first aid for a common sickness is 8,250 naira. In a country where the last minimum wage is 30,000 naira, and they are here to start paying the 7,000 naira minimum wage. Comrades, that were injured, attacked, and 21 Nigerians that were killed on the first day of this protest. They are not just numbers. They are human beings like us who have died because they joined the struggle to make their country a better place. They are voiced out to make their country a better place. Our president, in that speech, spoke over the head of all of that. And we need to be enraged about that. His administration has arrested, maimed, and killed the hungry Nigerians who are the backbone and the soul of this protest. Yet he claims to want to dialogue with protesters. Is the president a necromancer, open to dialogue with ghosts? How can an administration who is directly responsible for almost all of the violence and destruction that has plagued this protest lecture us on how we must not let violence and destruction tear our nation apart? The president has tried to make us look like we are the violent ones. But every day since we've been organizing, the violence has been incited by the Nigerian police, the DSS, the soldiers, and the civil defense. And we are saying that as Nigerians, we should not have to beg, we should not have to explain ourselves before we express our right to protest. The president's broadcast is dismissive and condescending to the people he claims to serve. The implicit claims that we are misguided and uninformed shows that he is unaware of our role as citizens, which is to inform and guide him on the issues that matters to us. The issue we met on ground in Nigeria has been that we have had a country where we praise our leaders as if they are not our servants.
Yes.
We believe it is the role of the citizens, the responsibility of the citizens to guide and inform the leaders.
So, guys, this point he just made now is very critical for us Nigerians. Most times we don't even realize the enormous power that we have in our hands. We are like the employers, and these politicians are our employees. We are the ones that employ them. If not that Nigeria is a very corrupt environment, especially when it comes to elections, where it is not what you voted that you will get at the end of the day. These people will be very, had it been Nigeria is working, these people will be very careful with the citizens. Because if you mess up, you will be recalled in the next election and a new person will be elected. That is why we keep saying that let things work in this country so that INEC will not be abused as a body and these politicians will not be using it to manipulate the entire country. You can imagine giving us leaders who are people we never voted for. So if we are allowed to vote and vote correctly and we got what we voted for, come next election, these people will be very careful the way they handle us because they know if they mess up, we are going to like reject them in the next election cycle. But because of what we have in Nigeria, that's why Wike is boldly doing what he's doing in Abuja. He saw the number of youths that came out to protest, only for him to deny them the venue they wanted to use. They want to send them into a stadium and then release talks to meet them there in the stadium, which will even lead to more, lives being lost. That was what they were trying to prevent during that protest because Wike insisted that they can't use the Eagle Square. Okay, they prefer to stay in front of the stadium. Wike is insisting together with the commissioner for police that they must enter inside the stadium as if they went there to play football. Okay, if they are inside the stadium, don't forget that the first and second day of this protest, they brought talks, people that were paid 5K. We saw them coming out to testify that they just came into their communities and asked them, follow us. We'll give you 5K, and they shared 5 protesters. And it was these talks ended up, a kind of looting people's things. That's the kind of country we have, where the little resources we have, the little money we have, we use it to go and hire people to come and counter protest that is constitutional, protest that it is our right. It's the only way we have to express our feelings. We are being denied of that opportunity. And tomorrow they will tell us we are practicing democracy. That's not democracy. So the citizens are the employers. We are the ones to decide for these politicians, not them dictating for us anymore.
And so, the implicit attempt of President TINUBU to make us look like we are misguided, we are uninformed, we are sponsored, and that's why we are protesting, shows again that our president is out of touch. He should be listening. We should be the ones lecturing him on democracy and good governance and policies to address the issues fueling the protests. Given Tinubu's gargantuan history of corruption and self-enrichment through public wealth, he is the one who needs a lecture and probably a mental rehabilitation. He is so corrupt that he has reduced the trust of Nigerians in the government just by emerging as president. We cannot look out there. Across countries in Africa, people are taking polls of how much people have trust in their government. And Nigeria today is lowest on those polls because just by emerging alone, through a very corrupt electoral process, Tinubu has reduced the confidence of the people, the trust of the people in their governance. And a country where people don't trust in the governance of the day is a country that will especially be unstable. Because if the government is not responsible to the people don't owe anything to the government, and they don't owe the government to respect any law and order. And that is writing letter to chaos. And that is why we are saying we are the peaceful ones in this protest. We are the ones trying to ensure that Nigeria does not descend into chaos because of the poverty, the instability, the alienation that we see every day on our streets. We must state clearly that this broadcast only makes it clearer that Tinubu is a dictator and not a democrat. The broadcast only exposes Tinubu for who he is, a megalomaniac and unprincipled dictator who wants to use force and coercion to consolidate his power. We therefore call on all Nigerians to come out in large numbers to continue this protest on Monday until our demands are met. By now, we would notice that the TINUBU government has gone to the press to tell the press to stop capturing this protest with the hope that they can kill us all in silence. Yesterday, before we started the protest, where we were tear gassed at the National Stadium, the cronies of the TINUBU government had gone online to say that protest is not holding today, that the youth are afraid, they can no longer protest again. But when that protest gathered momentum, they tear gassed us and dispersed us. Yeah. So this is to show that this government is only trying to use force and propaganda to stop us from actually organizing ourselves as Nigerians to demand for a better country. It is not too much to ask.
So, guys, when it comes to this TINUBU's administration, there are a lot of, will I call it distraction coming from this government, especially as regards to this protest. Initially in Lagos State, they used these Oro festivals, whatever, the traditional thing that they did, using it to threaten people. You can imagine those people putting on white and they were telling people not to come out with their fetish, whatever that they had in their hand. As if that wasn't enough, we saw people that went into the markets and were threatening others, especially in Igbo-dominated markets. They were telling them never to come out for the protest, that if they come out, they are going to do this and do that. And we heard some of them, their shops were locked. Can you imagine? As if that is not enough. What they are even saying currently is, if this protest ends, the next protest that is going to commence is Igbo must go, as if it's the Igbos that are the ones, initiating this protest. This protest is a nationwide thing, but you can see the level of tactics they are using, the level of distractions that they are bringing into all these things. But guess what? Nigerians are very focused in this one. Honestly, we must commend them. The youths who have come out, we must commend all the efforts. Even today, that is Sunday, when you go to Osun State, which is the state where the president originates from, Osun State, you go there today, being the 4th of August, people were, protesting. People were protesting. People came out. Even in in Lagos State, the assistant CP came and was telling the protesters to go home because TINUBU has addressed the nation, as if the protest was just to make TINUBU to address the nation. Why will he be telling people to go home that TINUBU has addressed the nation? TINUBU did not even capture any of the demands from the protesters. Can you imagine that? That means that this protest is not going to stop anytime soon. For him not to have captured any of those demands, that is even the worrisome aspect. So this group now, they've said they are even adding to those demands. And the additional one is that Wike must go for the role he played during this protest, the way he has malhandled the protesters. You need to see what happened there yesterday being Saturday. They had to use whatever force on the protesters. But guess what? These protesters, they were really prepared. They didn't even bow back. They came back and continued their protest. That's to tell you that Nigerians are ready to take back their country. And that is why TINUBU had no option than to come out to give his address. But let me even tell you what will even shock you. That address got leaked before he even broadcasted it, because it was pre-recorded. So it was already circulating on the social media before the actual broadcast took place. That's to tell you how TINUBU has surrounded himself with people. He was telling us that he has good team that are going to manage the affairs of the nation. But guess what? He has given them position just to compensate them, thereby taking the weaker hands, people that don't even know what they are doing. And that is why this country is sinking. In case you don't know, you can go and ask how much is the exchange rate. Our naira keep losing value. That's an indication that things are not getting better anytime soon in this country. And that's why this protest is really, really necessary, because this is the only thing that can move TINUBU to start doing what he's supposed to do. People have called on him to start sacking his ministers because they don't know what they are doing. Reduce cost of governance. Tell us what you are going to be cutting off so that Nigeria can have some balance. Restore fuel subsidy, so that people can at least have fuel to go into the bushes to bring their foods to the market, sell and make gain. That the prices of things will come down. There are a lot of, it's about 10 demand, including that of Wike. It's now making it 11. But I tell you, these people are determined to take back Nigeria. Honestly, from the look of things,
the two-pronged approach of violence and propaganda has failed. The violence and repressions are just attempts to silence and control us, and the propaganda cannot sway or fool us. The struggle for a new and better Nigeria continues. We must not be tired. The future of Nigerians depend on our determination at this moment. And we use this opportunity to call on the people of Nigeria, especially those living in the FCT, to make their best efforts to participate in the protests as from tomorrow. We appreciate the fact that many Nigerians have trooped out to say that our demands are legitimate. This is the reality on the streets. And we must also point out that asking Nigerians to not protest, when that same government asking us not to protest, presently I got here late because there are 4 queues on the streets right now. So a government that is asking us not to protest, but is making fuel scarce and making it very expensive. And the government would come on here and not touch on those issues and tell us that the fuel subsidy removal is still working. We want to ask, who is it working for? Is it the corrupt politicians who have built refineries in Malta? Who is the fuel subsidy removal working for? Is it working for the Nigerian masses? This is what we want to ask the Nigerian government. And this is what we are saying, that please Nigerians do not be swayed by the fact that they have tried to keep you at home with the fuel scarcity. By the fact that they are trying to keep you at home, please come out tomorrow and protest. One thing we want to make clear is this. The court order to stop us from protesting anywhere we want, especially at the seat of power, which is the National Assembly and the 3M zone. That court order is not constitutional because Nigerians reserve their right to move on public roads. Public roads are built with public money. Nigerians reserve their rights to freedom of movement, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and freedom of dissent. We should not have to beg the government before we assert our freedom of assembly.
Yes.
And so we would like to tell this government that the only way we can dialogue is what we are doing right now. We are doing this now to tell the government that this is our dialogue. We are telling the government that our demands still stand. Reversal of fuel price to what it was before May 29, 2023. Reversal of electricity hike, tariff hike. Reversal of school fees increments across board. Reversal of all of the taxes that the tax master himself, TINUBU, has introduced. These are our demands, and we are not reneging on these demands. Even though TINUBU has tried to tell us that the protests are stopped, Nigerians are tired. Presently, today, Sunday, this morning, protests continued in just Plateau State, with protesters organizing their own Sunday service at the protest. Even in Lagos, the same thing happened today. On Friday, we had protesters who did their Juma service at the protest ground. And so, we are saying that Nigerians are fully in support. And this is not the time to be afraid. This is not the time for us to go to our rooms and start praying that God will save us. God needs us to save ourselves.
Yes.
This is not the time to start saying, Shebi God saved us from Abacha now. God will save us from this one. To know, this is not a military regime. And we must assert the fact that we are in a civilian democracy and we must be treated constitutionally as citizens of Nigeria. On this basis, we want to charge Nigerians that we must continue to organize, resist, and build till we have a country that prioritizes the people of Nigeria over the profits and power of a few people. The struggle continues. A lucha continua.
Victoria and South.
So, guys, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of the updates from today's protest. Let me call it today. I know we're already into a new day, but let's assume today is still Sunday. There were some protests, that happened across Nigeria. One of the protests that people are really reacting to is that from Kano State, where people were seen, raising the flag of Russia. And that has raised so many questions. Some people were like, why Russia? Some people were like, allow them, that they don't want this government again and all that. But that's to tell you what happens when you create a vacuum. this government created a very large vacuum, and guess what? All kinds of things are filling this vacuum at the moment. So, guys, that was Kano State, yesterday being the 4th of August 2024. So, I'm going to be sharing with you guys what the Commissioner for Police, the Assistant Commissioner for Police for Lagos State did to the protesters for today. But allow me to say one thing. There was something this guy said, the guy that spoke last. He talked about these politicians, having refineries in Malta where they import fuel from. That was why they were trying to stop Dangote. They said Dangote's fuel is inferior. And then Dangote now had to invited the rep members so that they would test the fuel that were gotten from various fuel stations in Abuja there, in Lagos, sorry, and then with their own. And it was now discovered that Dangote's own even is of more quality, because these people, they are the one running the deal in Malta. So they import I don't even know what they are doing with this too much money, honestly. Sometimes I try to think what our politicians do with so much money. Don't forget the oil theft that have been going on. So what is it called again? Interpol released a statement saying government money is being flown out of Nigeria hourly. That's by the hour. 60 minutes, that as in every hour, Nigeria people's money is being flown outside the country. And there is this account that was discovered in the United States that belonged to Nigerian politicians, with, will I say, billions of dollars. Pro-citizens tormenting us to this point. Why are they doing all this to us Nigerians? Many children have gone out of school as I speak to you now. Many children, because school fees have increased, both private and even government. TINUBU was even preparing to increase school fees again before this protest talk began. Then they now withdrew. What have we done to these politicians to kind of experience this level of persecution? The persecution is too much from this government, and they don't care. So they are the ones behind all these foreign refineries. They are the ones behind, the oil theft. They are the ones behind all kinds of things, but still they are not satisfied. Let me show you what the Assistant CP did to those that came out to protest today in Lagos.
Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief has addressed the nation. He has addressed the nation, and that you requested for that. Now that you've been addressed, I will suggest and advise that you go home now. We have treated you as friends, as brothers, as our children. Yes, sir. We have followed you quietly. We have been so lawful in what we have done with you. True, sir. Now, I want to plead with you all to go home now. The reason is that you've been addressed.
This man came with anger. He said for the fact that TINUBU has made his empty address, that people should no longer come out to protest. They should be going home now. They've been addressed. You shouldn't stay here. That they've tolerated them enough. The protest should be over by now. They should be going home. As if this protest is aimed at dragging TINUBU to come and do a broadcast. That's not the essence. He didn't even capture any of the demands in his address.
But sir, can you tell us what the president told us?
Okay, that is the more reason why you have to go home. On your TV or radio, you will hear the news. Please, let there be peace. Please, we have been working as friends since we started this program, and now that you are at peace with us, I want to plead with you to go home. Let us enjoy peace. We need peace in Lagos. What happened in some other states, we don't want it to happen in Lagos.
Yes.
If you know you love Lagos and you love Nigeria, please go home now.
Thank you, sir. So guys, that was it from the assistant VP of Lagos asking protesters to go home, that they are not supposed to be protesting, for the fact that TINUBU has addressed them. They shouldn't come out again to protest. You see, these people don't even know why this protest is very important. If this protest should achieve its purpose, it's going to better the lives of these policemen. These policemen that if they tell you their salary, you weep for them. They don't know that all these things are being aimed at, bettering the lives of Nigerians, every Nigerian. So guys, lastly, I want you to take a look at what happened today in Plateau State. The people of Plateau, they don't give a damn. They came out en masse, They came out en masse to protest.
Today being the fourth
even
day
though
of
it's
the End Bad
Sunday.
Governance nationwide protest, the
Let me
people are
just
still
forward
saying
it
no.
so that you take a look at,
He has not addressed
young
what
Nigerians,
they are.
young people who are tired of this kind of governance that we have in Nigeria. If you check, most of the people coming out for this protest are young people, idle people who have not been able to find any job to keep themselves busy. These are the people that these politicians are taking for granted, just taking us for granted as if we don't know what we are doing. But I think it is time to send this strong message to them that enough is enough. Akpabio said we can go and be protesting, that they will be busy enjoying themselves, eating and whining.
President, the people still came out, and tomorrow they will still be out. In fact, I believe tomorrow is going to be massive.
Our leaders are bloody liars. If Nigerian leaders can be truthful to themselves, where has Nigeria been that Dangote just did a fuel refinery in Nigeria? Nigeria has had democracy for years, and Dangote, that means Nigeria don't have a refinery. We go outside to refine our fuel and bring it back into the country. And Dangote has made a refinery here in Nigeria. Does that mean that Nigerians don't have the money to make a refinery in their own country? It is because of there are a lot of criminals under that when they get this fuel, they get what they get their own share. So they don't want Nigeria to have their own refinery. So the truth is, if Nigerians are going to follow laws and are going to really follow the real matters and follow how things are supposed to be done, due process of checking and balancing will not be where we are in Nigeria. If you go to other countries, when you steal, they do what? They sentence you to what? To death. But in Nigeria, you hear person stealing billions, trillions of naira, and people are suffering. Why? Is it because there's no checkmating in the fraudulent act of Nigeria? You cannot be a single citizen of Nigeria and you are having trillions and billions in your account and there's no checkmating. It's because of the country, the offices, everybody has abused law. So for Nigeria to change, we have to go back to the roots. We have to go back to fish out things. It's not by coming out and telling us what we need to know and then we go back to their office. Let the truth be told. People are smuggling and stealing money. What they have stolen in Nigeria is more than what Abacha have stolen. People have stolen what is more than Abacha. If you talk about the current money of now. My question still stays is, where is Nigeria that Dangote has a refinery in this country? The amount you use to export fuel outside, refine it and bring it into the country is even more than what you sell to your Nigeria to make your money out. So where is Nigeria today? It's because of there are a lot of liars. When the Sune in Nigeria, see, they come out and tell us they all have shares. They all have shares in this thing. If Nigeria can tell themselves the truth and remove what they need to remove and make things work, Nigeria will work. Nigeria is a country that's supposed to be producing things. We have things. Okay, now, for instance, this is Plateau, this is Jos. They take a whole lot of mining. They take a whole lot of guza, tin, many things from this state, outside the state. But look at the state is not even developed. So what are you saying? What are you saying? You can in a way put tin and fuel almost the same in pricing. But look at Plateau today. They use the money of Plateau to go and build somewhere. Because of Accusations that they all have mining points that are in the government. Then they.
So guys, what this guy is saying really makes sense. You know, when you go to this Plateau state, they have a lot of, all this natural mineral. But the state is not even known for anything, if not just agriculture. They are not known for anything. Even the agriculture self, they've not really empowered them to do what they can do very well. Instead, they allow these headers to go there and, just be buying them anyhow. That is the problem of this country. We don't maximize what we have. Look at the gold in Zamfara. We have gold in Zamfara. This nation is not maximizing gold, which is what Ghana depends on. Ghana is living on their gold. But Nigeria has gold in Zamfara. They've left it for political office holders. They know how they mine it. They know how they take it to Dubai to make their money. And nobody's talking. What kind of nation? Okay, like I told you guys initially, this headline says just in thousands of dollars of government money is being flown out of Nigeria every hour, coming from Interpol. So what do you make of this kind of headline? That the money that belongs to people, go and check. We don't have good roads. During the time of Buhari told us that his administration will be remembered for the good roads and the infrastructure they are going to leave behind. Tell me, where are those things? We can't find any. All the Abacha loots that were returned, all the money Buhari borrowed, all the seizures. Remember, they seized people's properties, people's buildings, people's things, and they sold it using EFCC. Where are the money? We can't boast of anything. 8 years in office. Now this government has come in. They've started borrowing. Internally, TINUBU has borrowed trillions from CBN. We are not talking about external borrowing, just internal borrowing. They've overborrowed. Overborrowed. And we are not seeing one thing that we can point to and say, this is what this government has achieved. But you can see how the people's money, is being flown out of the country. Into whose account? Into whose account? Nigeria, that they tell us we are broke. That's to tell you that we are not broke, but because of corruption. So guys, I'm going to end this stream here. Thank you very much for joining. It's really so heartbreaking each time one talks about, this country called Nigeria, despite all our potentials, all that God has blessed us, naturally with. If you talk about the human beings in Nigeria, they are so unique, so creative, so smart and all that. But guess what? We don't have leaders that can direct that smartness in the right direction. Why do we have Yahoo boys everywhere? These are, if these people can manipulate people online, don't you know that they have some cognitive power in their heads? But nobody can help them to maximize that. Look at unemployment everywhere. That's why people are joining cults, joining all kinds of things. Because if you say you don't have money as a young guy, what will happen to you? You just do what others are doing. Easily you'll be influenced. So this government is not helping us, and that is why this protest is very important for every Nigerian to participate and make sure that we make this government to do the right thing. So guys, I don't know what you think of all what you've heard from this video. Please drop your thoughts in the comment section below. I want to urge you to please support the channel by subscribing and turning on the bell notification that is always by the side of the subscribe button. That's the only way you can support us. And don't forget to like the video so that YouTube can show it also to other people, so that they see what happened in Nigeria yesterday being Sunday, so that people can get updates of what is happening. And let's see how tomorrow's protest, okay, today we're already in a new day. Let's see how today's protest is going to turn out. Please subscribe for more updates and turn on the bell notification. Don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comment section and give the video a like for YouTube to help us to push it out there. I want to say a very big thank you for being a part of this live session. Let's meet again some other time. Thank you and God bless you. Bye.